to begin?
It's going.
Okay. As you know, the Taliban, an extremist slash fundamentalist force, have been taking over Afghanistan and they continue to cause terror throughout history. The question here we're discussing here today is, what do you think the United Nations, NGOs, and the United States should do about it?
Well, the United States has tried for a number of years to be over in Afghanistan, and it's one thing to say that, but you have to have other countries help you out, because there's quite a bit of funding involved in that, and quite a bit of American lives involved in that. So there needs to be more countries to group together other than just the United States.
Yes, I see. United States, we can't just do it by ourselves, and also it's not us that's directly being involved. We still want to help, but I definitely see where you're coming from. I think that we should provide them military aid, and we can do that by having military alliances will really help. I think by giving them military aid will help them fight off this force, because if it's been going on for numerous of years, they can't fight it off on their own. We can conclude that. And I feel that by saying that we give them military aid, we can create a positive relationship with that country. We can meet our national interest of having democracy and human rights established. And also, in the long run, we could have a long-term relationship by maybe exchanging goods.
Well, the problem is it needs to be something that's constant in there. Once you pull out of it, it returns to the situation that it is. So there needs to be a constant force there, and you need to train the people that live there to protect themselves. And it's not a short-term fix.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think short-term fixes is what we should strive for, because once we do that, we can achieve a long-term goal. And by doing that, having the United Nations getting involved by sending peacekeepers, I believe, will be the best solution that we can do now due to their amount of power that they have. They don't have a military because they can't require that. But by having countries volunteer troops would be the way to do that. By having peacekeepers go in, actually see what's going on, they can report back, show videos, and then they can make suggestions on what they believe the United Nations should do. And then from there, I feel that when countries have a really good understanding of what's going on and what could possibly come in the future, they'll most likely volunteer troops, and then from there, they can fight off the force. It will take some time, but with lots of countries involved, the UN being a really good source of that, with 192 just in the 92, 93, that's just around that area, is just not in the General Assembly. There's also the Security Council. There's so many countries, so many opportunities to fix this. How do you feel about that?
Well, I do think it needs to be fixed, because if we don't fight it over there, we'll be ending up fighting it on our own shores, and we've seen that with terrorist attacks. It's not a simple solution, and I believe that you're right. Other countries have to get involved as well for the long-term goal. But just sending troops over there and expecting a short-term fix, it's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Just the United States and the United Nations, sometimes that's not always enough. And with having extra backing up, such as non-government organizations, there's ones Doctors Without Borders, things like that. Maybe not specifically in this case. Well, yes, to the people that have been affected by bombings and beheadings, such as like that the Taliban caused, that would really help. But I think that they should raise awareness to fix the social / ideological changes that the Taliban have brought upon them by taking over and enforcing their extremist ways. And I think by doing that, the government of Afghanistan, especially Pakistan, because that's where they also cause herein, but also by doing that, they can pressure the government into taking action, because such as when people go down the wrong path or whatever, they have to want to fix themselves, and by pressuring them, not like doing things that are bad, but just by raising awareness, they'll get the hint, and then they can take military action, which I feel like would be the best way to their.
I agree. There needs to be some military action there, and the Taliban needs to get under control. And like I said, if you don't control it there, then we'll end up they'll be on our shores. So I agree with you on that.
Okay. How do you feel that in the long run military action will fix the situation, what it will do, or if it's the best solution?
Well, the United States needs to be a superpower, and by backing away from these situations and not handling them, it only shows us as a weakness. So we do need to strengthen our military and take care of this situation. Like I said, if we don't, we will be fighting it here.
Mm-hmm. In addition to that, I have a question for you, which is, since historically we've had very hostile relationship with the Taliban, they have harmed us as well. How do you feel like? What do you really feel is the root of the problem? Why we continue to fight the Taliban and help give them aid, give Afghanistan aid? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, some of those people are just crazy, and you're not going to be able to reason with them. They're just evil, and certain evil people need to be imprisoned, or the military needs to take care of them. And with those people, they're evil. They behead people. As a world as a whole, we have to show that is not acceptable, and by doing that, give a military response. And by not doing that and giving into that, it's only in my opinion, it's making the problem worse. Make a parking lot there.
Exactly, I agree. They need to be stopped, and that this is completely unacceptable. And I feel growing up in a society where we're very well privileged